What's going on? Is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. I want to have a little bit of a conversation with you guys. And it's based off of the things that I've been covering in the news lately, mainly on the Millionaire Morning Show, but it's based off of some of these things I've been covering. And when I see what's happening in these communities, including Chicago and Philadelphia and St. Louis and you name it, wherever it is that you can think of that things are going wrong in America, a lot of times it's happening in these urban cities and it's spilled out over into rich areas in the suburbs. For example, if you've been following what is happening over on the West Coast, which then starts to be a trend over on the East Coast, people are now, or they have been for some time, following people that go into luxury stores and buy whatever it is that they buy or pick up whatever it is that they pick up. And they follow them home and then they rob them or they assault them and they break into their houses and everything like that, right? And these are problems that have largely been centralized to communities where they say that crime is based off of proximity. Basically, the people that are around you is the most likely for you to be able to offend them or participate in crime against them or lower the property values and so on. And for the Black community, specifically Black culture, which I believe that is absolutely trash because it's the things that we celebrate the most, it's been pronounced, meaning that it's been a bigger issue more than anywhere else based off of the places that I've traveled and the communities that I've seen. And I've flown all over the United States of America. And I'm starting to spend more time going to places that's outside of America, like Tokyo. And the cultural norms are way different, right? But then when I came back home, and one of the things that I had been working on and contemplating over the last few years, because my daughter is in the 10th grade going into the 11th grade, and you start to think about what your next move is in order to make sure that you're living the best life possible, right? So I've made the sacrifices as a man, as a Black man. I've become relatively successful in that I've been able to accumulate a little bit of wealth, right? And I'm doing well, and I run businesses, and I got several different of them, and the majority of them are here in Michigan. And the one thing that, as a content creator, that people have been telling me is, Anton, when are you moving here? Or when you gonna move over into LA? Or when you gonna move over down to Miami? Down in Atlanta, Houston, Dallas, New York, all of those things. And the thing that's always bothered me as a person that is from Detroit, born and raised, went to school in Detroit, even when my parents sent me to private school, my dad made the sacrifice and not buy a new car. And during middle school, my 2 years in middle school, he made sure that he sent me to private school. It was within the city limits. And I've always lived in Michigan my entire life. My daughter was then raised in a different community within Michigan, so basically Metro Detroit. Metro Detroit is basically the surrounding areas that's around the city, but then she hasn't been removed from the city in order to be able to experience things and get all of everything as far as the good, the bad, whatever, so on and so forth. Like, she's been, allowed to participate and have a level of freedom that's allowed for her to be able to see everything on all sides, right? And I say all that to say this. When it came down to it, and I've largely been in my offices, my businesses, they all down in the city, they all down in Detroit. The place where I stream at every day is down literally in the city, so I spend my money in the city, it's centralized in it. I own property here in the suburbs in the city, the whole nine, right? And I say all that to say this. When it came down to it, and I had the opportunity to either be able to move somewhere else or we starting to plan for the future, I decided to make and buy more property and make my home the city of Detroit. And the reason why that is simply this. No longer are we going to be able to run away from our problems. Flat out. When we were growing up, we thought that the world was all based off of what we seen in our neighborhood. And then we traveled a little bit. Now dudes are starting to get their passports and whatever. If you decide that you want to go and get your passport and live overseas, hey, God bless you. I don't tell anybody what to do, what to do or anything like that. But I still find that people that I coach and people that I communicate that are overseas are still deeply connected to what's going on here in America, right? Even in their own cities that they was raised in and all of that other type of stuff, right? But for the vast majority of us, 99% of us are not going to live overseas, okay? Even if you have money, even if you have resources, you love it here in this crazy country that we live in called the United States of America. And what people are starting to realize is that no matter if you move down to Atlanta, don't matter if you decide that you want to move over into Houston, you can move from the West Coast to the East Coast and the East Coast back to the West Coast. You can go from the South to the North to the South to the Midwest, wherever it is that you want to do, right? This is what I found, is that you cannot outrun your cultural norms and your problems. And in most instances, people pick up and they take their same habits over to where it is that they're going to, and they turn that into the place that they was running away from. When you see people move out of the ghetto and they move into the suburbs because they get a little bit of money, and sometimes they then go broke as a result of it, and then sometimes have to move back into the ghetto, they take them with them and they still bring their cultural norms into wherever it is that they're moving into. When I seen everybody run down to Atlanta, the majority of the people that was down in Atlanta wasn't even from Atlanta at one point. And then now they turning Atlanta into Houston. And, you know, when I see people move from California over to Texas people are saying, hey, man, don't bring your voting problems with you. Don't turn Texas into California. But guess what? Texas is turning into California. And Texas is turning into... or Chicago is turning into the problems that they had down in Texas. And all I'm saying is this: at some point, and it's already pretty much there, no matter where you're going, you're still going to have to face who you are and your cultural norms. And so what I decided to do was become even more immersed in my city, because I wanted to invest in and continue to see the growth of the place that I came from. And Detroit has really, really changed. It's evolved so much. And thank God I've been here to be able to experience it. And again, I don't knock anybody from wanting to leave or do whatever it is that they want to do, wherever it is that you're from. If you're from Chicago and you want to move somewhere, or you're from somewhere else and you want to move to Chicago, cool. Do whatever you want to do and experience it how you want to experience it. You're a grown person. As long as you're not doing anything underhanded or criminal activity, I'm all for it. But instead of running away from it, and I could have moved anywhere I wanted to, I've decided to become even more immersed in the culture of what it is that's happening in my city. And we always are complaining as Black people, and we always whining about somebody gentrifying it or whatever. Well, you wasn't taking care of it when you had it, and when somebody else see the value in it and they come in and they start to invest in it and increase the value of it, now you want to complain about it. It's no pleasing you. It's never any pleasing you. It's never any resolution as to why it is that you're going to accept it, or it's ever going to be good or bad or whatever like that. All I hear is whining and complaining 100% of the time, no matter what happens. And so if you want change, you don't have to move all the way across the country and then take your problems with you in order to get it. All you got to do is start being the change that you want to see in your own communities, in your own environments, and stop waiting for somebody to come and save you, because nobody is going to come and save you. If they're doing it for their own well-being and purposes and opportunities, and they're not doing it in order to fix your neighborhood or fix your spaces. If it's yours and you keep claiming your hood and you keep claiming your neighborhood, cut your grass. Call the police when somebody break into your neighbor's household, because you are a community, and that's why it's called a neighborhood or community watch. Fix up your house. Take some pride in what it is that you're doing in your own neighborhood. Don't just throw the trash out the window. Actually pick up the trash at a neighbor's house and keep an eye on the kids when they outside playing to make sure they don't nothing happen to them. That's what the sense of community is. That's where the safety come from. That's why your property value goes up. When people fix up their stuff, when they care about it, when they take care of it, when they're not just waiting on a city or some politician in order to save them. Biden can't save you. And you can't outrun your problems anymore, because everybody is all connected with everybody. And if you see what's happening in San Francisco, everybody is affected by what's going on by everybody else's problems. And them tent cities is popping up everywhere, and van life is parking on your street, and you can't outrun your problems. And so at some point, we're going to have to figure out that instead of running from it, run towards it, fix it, take a different mentality, become the thing that you want to see different in your community, and then take some pride in fixing it up yourself. Otherwise, you can keep doing what you've been doing, and then your problem's just going to chase you down, and you're not going to actually get any kind of resolution of what you want happening. Meanwhile, you still complaining about how it is that we need to do things differently and how somebody need to come and save you. It's not going to happen. That's my thoughts anyway. I'm curious as to what you guys think. Make sure you let me know in the comments what you think. Tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Just an epiphany, man. And I'll be thinking about stuff, and I don't necessarily say it because I know that it may not be as entertaining, but I got to get it out. I got to get it out. Right or wrong, you may have a difference of opinion, and I'm looking forward to reading that inside of the comments. I got to get it out. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm out. Peace.